Okay, I thought these two photos kind of matched reasonably well in terms of the horizon line here, if we're going to use this in a horizon card type of format. So I just tried a photo on photo experiment that I really liked, and I thought I would try this one with the flower field. So I don't know, it's pretty crazy. We have some hard kind of edges in here, but I want to give it a try and see how it'll work, or if it'll work. All right, so we're going to stamp out our flower field. And again, we're using StazOn ink here because, here, I'm just going to leave this stamp right on here. I don't know where my plastic coating for my tack and peel is, so I'll just leave that on here. This happens to be the cling foam flower field here. And this is a 6-inch card, so let's see. It'll just make it across here. So I kind of designed this around your standard quarter page or 6-inch across format. You can use a smaller portion, of course, but it'll reach edge to edge on your your standard card formats. All right, stamping on the horizon, right up here. Sorry about my head getting in the way. I always stand up to get a little leverage on my large stamps. Hopefully this didn't slide at all, but we'll see. It came out okay. So see, there's just different variations in there. Now, I don't want all that like hard edge in there, but we're going to see if we can kind of blend that out. Going with an image that has a little bit less contrast is probably a good idea. But I don't know, I just wanted to check this one out and see. Okay, so let's try some, I like using these grass textures in the foreground. And I don't know what that represents. It could be sunrise or something like that, but I don't know, I see it more as like a, kind of like a twilight period here where those colors are kind of changing like that. Okay. Nice grass down there. So see, I'm covering up a lot of those cloudy textures in here. Because I don't want it to look like sky in there. So let's see how far we can go. I never really thought about doing kind of this extreme type of, photo stamping before, where you're really covering up a lot of the cloudy textures, because I always figured, well, if you're stamping on a cloud photo, you probably want, that cloud to kind of show in there, or whatever the textures in the background. But I don't know. I found that just with this one experiment on my last live stream, that those textures down there can provide more than just kind of what they are, clouds. It can just provide kind of a general, kind of textural background that has like a little bit of a vibrance to it. So I don't know. I'm rethinking a lot of things these days, and which is a good thing, because you can potentially develop new types of techniques with these different types of surfaces. Okay, using the Tiny Rock Small here to get in that extra texturing in here. kind of adding a little bit more on the perimeter and maybe right next to the rows there, just kind of, you know, to carry that row down a little bit farther. What I mean, carry it down instead of having that dark line, it's kind of transitioning with a little bit more of this rocky kind of texture here. Okay, I'm using this quite a bit because there are a lot of textures in there. So I want to add in some color to that later as well. And let's see. I'm kind of debating on whether or not to add in these extra grasses in here right now, or if I should spray seal color and then add those in later. Okay, let's go ahead and add those in later. Okay, now let me see here. One of the things when I'm stamping this image right here, this windmill, I've been getting a little bit of a blotchy impressions because there's so much kind of changes in texture. And I don't get that, you know, if I'm stamping it on standard cardstock or anything like that. But when I'm doing it on the non-porous kind of unconventional stamping surfaces, you know, such as photos and foils and I don't know, what else have I been stamping? Did I do a holographic? I don't remember. So let's see if I can get this one, I don't know, stamped down a little bit better here. The ink tends to puddle up a little bit. Now, so I've just been going back in with a Sharpie pen, just coloring it back in, which is, you know, it's no problem, but let's see if I can just get it here. And maybe I need to press harder or something, I don't know. See, what happens is your ink is underneath there, and it's kind of, when you're squeezing it down, it could be squeezing ink apart, or there could be a little like air bubble in there, especially if there's a lot of solid area, or there's a lot of buildup of ink in a solid area. So I don't know, but the StazOn ink, though, it dries pretty fast, not super fast. Well, in comparison to other types of inks, yeah. But it can remain a little bit moist. And let's see if I can get, just spend a little bit more time on the impression. Let's see if I can get more of that ink to transfer. Taking a peek here. Okay, that's better. I got a little bit in that area right there, just a couple little spots, but I had it all over before. But that's a good one. I got those 2 little spots, so a little bit more pressure, it would seem. Okay. And again, this is not, it's just on these kind of non-porous surfaces. You know, this is like completely sealed off and shiny. So, you know, on paper, it's, you know, business as usual in terms of the impression, standard impression time. Okay, let's get some little horizon textures on here. And we'll build this out a little bit more. Let's go to about right here. I don't remember if I've used a couple of these windmills together. StazOn ink. Sometimes people watch me and say, oh my God, he's not, you got to cover that StazOn. Yeah, and you're right. Okay, there's the windmills right there. So I'm going to try to do just that. Let me try to get those in there. Now let me see if I can get a good impression with those. Okay, let me see right here. All right. I'm not, this is the one with where the reflections down below, but I'm not going for the reflections. I'm just going for the two windmills. I'll do a little bit of masking like that. And we'll have a foreground windmill, background. Sometimes if you press too hard on this, it's kind of like squeezes the ink out a little bit. So it's trying to find kind of the right pressure to use. All right, that came out pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty dramatic having the those in there together. It has this kind of line going down like that in terms of, I don't know, kind of like a vanishing point line or something. Kind of creates a little bit of a drama in terms of that angle that's in there. But, okay, so I got a little blotchy area right there on that stamp, so I'm just taking a Sharpie pen and I'm just going to fill it in like so, okay? And there's a couple little areas, not too bad though. All right, now I think our composition is established. And this is kind of roughly, oh well, it's not roughly, it is what we're kind of going for right here in terms of our composition like that. Now this is going to get filled in with some extra tone, and then we're going to bring in some colors in there. I'm going to really try to add in, you know, a little bit of color in here. And if I'm going to do that with the alcohol inks, I need to spray seal it. So I'm going to give these two pieces a pretty decent amount of spray sealant on there. So it's going to be a spray fixative that I'm going to use on here. Okay, I'm going to give it about 2 or 3 coats because I want to use some alcohol pens on here. And I don't want my alcohol pens to be putting that StazOn ink back into solution. In other words, dissolving and smearing that ink right there, which it will do if I just go in straight with the alcohol right now. So the spray sealant is in order, or the spray fixative, okay? All right, so what you want to do is you want to kind of give a kind of a light coating with these, and you let it dry for a little bit. You know, I'm talking about just a few seconds. And then you go back in and you coat it again. And I'll do that about 3 or 4 times. Maybe I'll do it like 4 times just to make sure. On here, I don't really have a lot of coloring to do. I want to color these bushes a little bit, but that's about it. So, I don't know, let's give it a try and we'll see how it works. All right, so we have our 2 components. They are pretty well sealed off with the workable fixative. And I'm putting together, kind of in my head, kind of a color theme for these flowers in here. Being that it's kind of a dusk twilight type of you know, lighting scheme up here, I thought I would go for kind of more of a you know, kind of a violet pink type of row our color scheme for these flowers down here, as opposed to the kind of the brighter oranges or yellows or something like that. Which could work as well, but I thought let's just kind of work in theme here in this, I don't know what you call it, test print or something like that, test trial, I don't know, whatever test here. I'm testing for both, kind of the ability to color StazOn impressions with alcohol inks without smearing them around, but also just the idea of using some sort of cloud stamp down here for imagery, okay? So see, I already have kind of like lights and darks throughout here, and I like to create that usually when I'm coloring, but it's already kind of established in here somewhat. Maybe it's too much, I don't know, but let's go in here and test this out. All right, so like I said, I have gone in and laid down a pretty good foundation of dye-based inks in here. Now, as I go in here and start coloring it, I'm kind of making an assessment of whether or not the StazOn ink is locked down. Okay, now I think when I go over this like this, okay, lightly like this, just with one pass, I think I'm locked down pretty good. It's when I kind of move around too much in one area, I think I might be kind of lifting some of that color from the, the first impression a little bit. Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's not by much though. It's not like totally smearing the ink or anything like that. Okay, but that being said, I think I do need to be a little bit careful about coloring. But I can definitely color much better than had I not spray sealed. If I didn't spray seal, then some of this is going to be smearing, I believe. All right, so that was just a light pink. I was kind of scumbling around a little bit with a violet. So let me go back into there using that. Is that the one? I don't know. Something like that. I don't think I'll be doing like a huge amount of coloring in here. It's a little bit too light. I think this is the one I first started off with a little bit. Yeah. A little bit darker in the foreground where our shadows are probably going to be a little bit more developed. A little bit of separation between some of the rows here with a little bit of a darker tone like that. All right, now let's see if I can blend it out a little bit more. Yeah, okay, no problem with the blending. I just don't want to be, again, I don't want to be putting my flowers, I mean, my original impression back into solution and smearing it, with, too much overlapping tone on here, but it seems to be doing pretty good. Getting a little bit gutsier, adding a little bit more tone. If you add too much of anything, you can kind of go with your blender pen or just a lighter pen and remove some of it or kind of move it around a little bit. Okay, let me see if I can kind of blend in some additional kind of tones. I can make one kind of row a little bit of a different, color flower than the other one too. And remember, if you get something going kind of haywire with some of your impressions, stamping on these kind of unconventional stamping surfaces like photos. See, like that area there got a little blotchy, but just remember, you can just kind of fill those areas in, with, some additional color or textures at this stage. You know what I mean? It's if you miss things kind of in the beginning, it's like, oh man, that didn't really stamp out very well. A lot of people just, with a lot of different types of stamping, it's like, it's kind of obvious if something goes a little bit haywire, but with scenic stamping, you just kind of blend it in. Or you stamp something over it. You don't like something, you stamp a branch over it. That's kind of like the joke with scenic stamping. You don't like something, you just put a branch or a tree right over the top of it. And it's no big deal. It just kind of adds to the overall, I don't know, whatever, imagery, image density, that type of thing of a piece. Now, if you don't have to cover anything up, then that's better. But, there's all kinds of things that you can really do beyond the first step, which is just, making the impressions. So you can always manipulate things later on. And I always do with my pieces. It's not like, okay, I'm trying to learn things and kind of push the, the envelope in terms of, my abilities or whatever techniques. I want to develop new techniques. I want to learn new techniques and develop new ones. So, you always have to kind of step out of your comfort zone, to, in order to do that. Okay, so going in here and adding a little bit of tone down in this area. It's just a little bit of a warmer tone, and I can see up on my screen, you probably can't even see what that did, but it was just a really pale, kind of warmish tinge, okay? Can't see it too much because I'm stamping over the top of a photo too, so this one right here gets a little bit warmer. I don't know if you can see that. And there. Like that. I'm building up to it a little bit. Okay, let me see. Let me go in it with this tone right here. A little bit of a brown. So I'm trying to cut down on some of the contrast in this dirt area, you know what I mean? Because I don't want it to look like super cloudy or anything like that down there. I mean, it still does, it's a sky photo, but just kind of trying to subdue some of that texturing a little bit. Okay, now this is kind of the color of, that those cloud textures down here. So this is kind of, subduing it quite a bit. It's flattening it out a little bit by cutting down some of the contrast in there. All right, and how about a little bit of a greenish tinge on this grass in here? Okay. And we'll hit this at the end of the rows here on this kind of bushy, whatever, hedge or something like that over there. It's a little bit too bright, so I'll kind of dull it down a little bit with, maybe not that one. Well, I don't know, let me try. Yeah, looks okay. Over the top of the green, it's a little bit more dull. All right, let's take a look here and see what this is going to look like, kind of roughly, or how it's looking. Not done with it yet, but it's pretty interesting. All right, let's add in our, kind of our color depth here with the use of the paint pens. Okay, now that should give these flowers a little bit, or a lot more dimension, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. So you want to use a color within your color scheme, but, you know, a little bit lighter so that it shows up on here, okay? You could add in some darker ones, but I figured we already have the shadows in here established from our, you know, initial impression of the flower field, so... You know, the flowers fields are already, you know, they already have some lights and darks in there. It kind of looks weird if you just add in a few little textures like that because it's only in one area. So you kind of add it around and it'll become more of a consistent textural theme in the piece. I kind of cluster it here and there, and then I don't know. I just kind of look at it as I'm doing this and kind of assessing, you know, how much more to add, or, you know, or if I'm adding too much or something like that. You know how I kind of darkened in the base of the rose in here? Like right along that row right there, kind of right above that darker row line, I kind of add a little bit of a shadow. Well, on the tops of the shadows, see, or on the tops of the rows, okay? Like right around here. I'm doing these little dots on the top of it to kind of accentuate those rows. So see, like on the top of this one right here, I'll go like this with this kind of lighter value like this. And it just kind of separates those rows a little bit more. You know, like that. Okay. But then we'll add it down here too. These little highlights. Kind of bringing everything to life a little bit more. It's a little bit more sparkly. These paint pen textures like this, after I add them in here, they're lighter than what they will look when they dry. See that it's really light like that, but look at it. It kind of blends in a little bit more, so it can be good in some ways in terms of kind of harmonizing with that text, the surface a little bit more, because the colors underneath will show through these paint pen dots. So they kind of merge optically a little bit more. But sometimes you want that you don't want to have to add in so many dots. That's like way too juicy of a pen right here. I get some of that off right there. Okay, smaller dot. Okay, okay, so this is a pink. I don't know why this is flowing so fluidly. Kind of crazy. All right, see this rose kind of coming alive a little bit. Something like that. Okay, and we have that looking like that. Pink's kind of standing out a little bit, but it'll be a little bit more subdued, as that dries. Where did my green paint pen go? I don't know. Okay, I was looking for the larger one. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to add in some highlights right in these kind of end of row bushes here. Okay. Or trees. Something like that. All right, so I'm getting close here to, let me see. Let me add in a few little highlights in here too. In these grasses. All right, we have that. Now, let's give our piece a little bit more. I seem to be doing this reeds all the time in here on all my scenes. All right. All right. Kind of breaks up this texture a little bit more. It does look like there's still a hole, you know, right in there, but so be it. Let's see if that added to the depth of the scene a little bit. And I think it did quite a bit. So let's see here. All right. Now I like adding some white pigment ink in my scenes just for added atmospheric, I don't know, kind of emotional qualities. So let's see. "100% cotton ball." Yeah, okay, I need a new one. These are some really cheap cotton balls that they're like not even like uniform size. I need to go to Target and get some good ones. I think this is like an old bag that I'm using kind of the remaining amount of that I got like during the lockdown pandemic, you know, so I didn't want to go shopping everywhere, and I just picked this up at this grocery store, and kind of an independent grocery store. It's always good to give your business to local places, but the cotton balls are kind of feeble. All right. I'm gonna add this like at the end of this row here. Something like that. And kind of roughly where that kind of lighting is like that. I'll do the same right in these trees here. It'll be this kind of like fog or mist rising from the field a little bit. It's a little bit too much here. Kind of putting these a little bit more distant ones in a little, I don't know, kind of a blanket of, distant fog and mist. Something like that, I think. And let's take a look here. Something like that. Let's bring it into the foreground a little bit here too, okay? trying to cut down the contrast right in here with that those clouds in there. All right, so you have this mist right here, and then none, and then some again like that. It's an interesting kind of illusion here with that cloud texture down there. It's kind of weird. It looks like it's underwater or something like that. Go like that. You can even put another layer of these reeds right in here too if you wanted to. So it'd be like reeds, then mist, and then reeds again. I think I have enough of them there, so I won't do that. But you could, and it would make that foreground look a little bit deeper with imagery. All right, but I think that is it. So, let's see. I'll get these glued down later. I'm not sure what color I'll use on the outside. Probably we'll use a like a black. I tried this is a bit of yellow. That's a little bit too much, but yeah, this card got pretty dark, so I'll probably go with black. But yeah, yellow's a little bit of a distraction. Let me pause here and go get that black card base. All right, there you have it. A photo over photo horizon card. And I don't know, this area down here, I don't know, it looks interesting. You know, I don't know if it looks like dirt, but I don't know, we could color it in a little bit darker or something like that, but I think it looks okay. I really like the look of that that photo in the background for those windmills. I think it's pretty dramatic, and I think the flower fields look pretty good over the top of that photograph, sealed off and then colored. You know, I think they came out okay. We can go a little bit, you know, with a little bit more contrast by using white in there. Yeah, I didn't even use like a white pen at all, but I think it's enough in there. But I think it makes for reasonably kind of dreamy looking scenario in here with the flower fields and the mist and kind of that, you know, that atmosphere that sky kind of creates up there. So yeah, anyways, a little bit of an experiment, and thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed both the card and kind of the process. Krylon Spray Fixatif and StazOn ink on tops of these particular photo prints seems to do the trick pretty good. And I think it opens up again, you know, the possibility of using our alcohol inks on something like a StazOn ink. You know, we just need one extra step in that spray sealing it down. So good to know. All right. Thanks again for watching.